Mixtapes and Tasty Cakes podcast. I'm Bert Lepore. He's Samuel Monte Carlo. We're hanging here with Angry Mike D, and we talk about music, movies, and so much more.
All right, we're back with another episode of Mixtapes and Tasty Cakes, episode 58. This one we're talking about singers with distinctive voices. We're going to go and around and see. Everyone's going to pick. We're not going to do a list, like the most distinctive voices, but we're going to give our opinions. The guys I picked, I tried to pick people that like nobody really sounds like them. Like you get, say, like Rod Stewart. There's a lot of people who sound like Rod Stewart, that raspy voice. He has a distinctive voice, yes, but there's I don't want to pick him and say, well, it could be, he sounds like this guy and that guy. And there was that British singer a few years ago. Every time I hear it in the supermarket, Sam Smith or something like that, and I always thought it was a Rod Stewart song, and then it's this guy. So I wouldn't even put Rod Stewart on my list. So I eliminated guys like that, So I tried to.
No Eddie Vedder. No Eddie Vedder.
Dude, everybody sounds like Eddie Vedder.
Yeah.
You could say Scott Stapp. You could say early Scott Weiland. So I mean, if you guys want to put him down, I'm not going to argue. Just the way I view it.
Right. Yeah. And that's cool. That's cool. Well, I'll do that. We want to do that.
I got my own rules for me.
Yeah, that's good.
That works. Hey,
that's good.
And if you find something that's like nothing, hey, shout it out.
Right.
Yeah. All right, Damo, let's hear what you got to start off the show.
All right. Well, I'm going to go with a guy who, and I'm not a huge fan of the band, and I actually only recently, within the past 5 to 8 years, started kind of paying attention to them and listening to them. And but nobody really sounds like this guy. And the first person that comes to mind is Jonathan Davis from Korn.
That was on my list. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
He has very distinct voice. I mean, he could sing a totally different style of music, but if you would have heard his voice, if you would hear his voice, you would know it's him.
Yeah.
Jonathan nobody really Davis sounds like him. He's very unique. He's got his own thing going down. He's got like this melodic thing, and then he's got almost like a kind of like a screaming, almost like a rap cadence to it. Yeah.
His cadence is unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's got his own. He's got his own tone, his own. Yeah, and then even like in the earlier records, like the second record where he does all that little, I don't know what you call it, like that noise, kind of rappy noise, kind of thing. Which I was never a big fan of that stuff, but I love, as far as a singer goes, I love Jonathan Davis. I think he's really, really unique. Really unique.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I never liked him until recently. I remember Korn was in town, and Mikey Primadonna, he works at our buddy works at a bar, bartends, and he asked me if I would DJ like an after show thing for Korn. So I was like, yeah, but I don't have any Korn music. So I actually went and downloaded a bunch of stuff. So I was listening to it. I was like, you know what, this is actually like pretty good.
Great. Yeah.
And I kind of liked him from that point on,
Yeah.
But that's my first pick.
Mike D, who you going with?
Since he's going, man, I'm going heavy too. I'm going to take one of your picks out of it.
Okay.
I know I'm taking Ozzy Osbourne.
Good pick.
That is.
I mean, that's just one voice you hear. You just know. I don't even know how to even describe it, but it's got this like kind of like coming from like here or something.
Almost like a whining kind of.
Yeah, and it's like
monotone,
not the greatest
almost,
voice in the world, but it works. You know,
it's him,
right?
Yeah, he's distinctive. Nobody sounds like that, and I always thought it was like, oh, it's got to be an effect that makes him sound that way. It's his tone. I mean, he's got some stuff, but nothing different than everybody else does.
Yeah, I don't think there's much effect on it, really, is it? Except for like the reverb and stuff.
He's probably heavy doubled, maybe a little slapback, maybe on it, and. But it's his delivery, it's his voice. I agree. Fucking unique. Ozzy's unique. Absolutely.
Yeah, nobody sounded like him before. I really can't even think of any imitators, really. I mean,
that are that well. Yeah, that are that well.
dude,
Every
nobody
time I
really-
hear something, I'm like, "Hey, this band's imitating Ozzy," and I'm like, "Nope, that's just Ozzy doing vocals for the track." It's like,
Yeah.
like that's what I thought. Remember with what was it? Not it was the Suicidal Tendencies side band.
Oh, and they
I
did
shouldn't know
therapy,
this.
infectious grooves.
Infectious Grooves, right? Because when I heard that song at first, I think I heard it like I don't know if it was on the radio or somebody played. I'm like, man, that sounds like Ozzy in there. And I found out that was Ozzy. Yeah.
Yeah, it was Ozzy.
Yeah.
For me, I'm going to go with Billy Corgan. Totally unique
That's a
voice.
good one. Yeah.
I mean, especially for that, with the change of music happening. Yeah, for the 90s, totally unique voice. Kind of soft, a lot of melody, kind of soft, but could get a little rough, but distinctive. And actually, when I first heard the Pumpkins, it took me a little bit to get used to the voice, but now I love the voice.
Yeah, it's his own thing. I mean,
yeah.
It definitely is. I guess like an acquired taste.
Yeah.
But you can't deny it's original. I mean, especially at that time when there seemed to be a lot of imitators coming around.
I would have thought he would have sounded like that, like have a higher voice when he talked, but he's got a pretty deep voice. If I remember.
Does, yeah.
So I think Corgan's pretty damn unique. Especially just talking about voicing in itself. Yeah, definitely unique. Who you got, Damo, for your next one?
David Lee Roth.
There you go.
Nobody sounds like him, and nobody's really made the attempt to sound like him. I mean, there's people who try to look like him and act like him, but they don't have that voice. Good or bad, whatever you think. He's not the greatest singer, but there's something. Distinct with his delivery, and
I had a little more of an epiphany with him later on. Like I always liked Van Halen and David Lee Roth. I like David Lee Roth, but when it comes down to like, oh, is he a good singer? Is he not a good singer? I mean, it was always like, nah, he sucks. He can't sing. That's why they got rid of him. That's why they put Hagar in there. But you know what? He's got this own kind of like soul or something to his like it's his own cadence or something.
It's original,
right. And you listen to it, and it's like, where do you come up with this? It just fits right in, and it's so crazy. It's like it's underrated. I'm going to say on that,
Yeah.
I think he's a bit underrated and underappreciated as a singer. Like in the studio, I thought. I don't know where people would say he sounds bad, because I always thought he sounded really good.
Sounds great in the studio, man. Great.
I think live he gets caught up into the moment, and he's more into the entertainment factor, and he doesn't really care what comes out of his mouth.
Yeah.
He's also he's got that weird like, was it that scat that he does too?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He's sort of like an old lounge singer, kind of.
Yeah.
Like
I bet you he could probably do it.
Yeah.
Well, he's got that scat cadence, and he got the little wow wows and screams in there. And I mean, overall, I know we're just talking about the voice here, but overall, as far as rock personality, he's his own thing, man. I mean, he's a little bit of Jim Dandy, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, but he's his own. I mean, you heard even Gene Simmons or Paul Stanley say it months ago when they were saying about the David Lee Roth thing. He's not what he used to be, kind of deal. Gene Simmons said, but he's like, there's never been a front man like him. Probably the greatest front man in rock and roll. Probably,
top 5 easy for like.
Oh, definitely rock, easy top 5, definitely. Yeah, Mike D, who you going with next?
Yeah, I'm gonna hit this one out there because this is pretty weird, but I don't know if we ever covered him or did anything, but the Captain Beefheart.
Strange.
I mean,
strange.
And it's like, when like, I guess if you're a fan of stuff back then, or Zappa and stuff like that, but that voice when you hear it, because nobody has that voice. It goes from like deep to a growl to a howl. Like it's just so all over the place.
Never heard Captain Beefheart? Wow.
No, I don't think so. I probably would have to hear.
You might have heard it, not realized it.
Yeah, I mean it's abstract, so it's kind of like you either have to be in the mood for it, or very artsy, but
quirky. It could be quirky.
Yeah,
but he's also got this kind of. What would you say, Mike? Would you say like kind of like this New Orleans kind of?
Yeah, he's got this weird like dark poetry going on. I don't even know what to make of it, but it's kind of cool.
Where was he from? New Orleans?
I don't know. I know he was in Zappa. I don't know where he was from though.
Let's see. I'm not even sure. He was with Zappa for a little bit.
Yeah, really
I've
unique.
seen the name many times and heard the name, obviously, but I've never. Here we go. I'm looking them up too.
California.
Yeah, see if you get thrown a track so you could hear him. Dan, too. Sounds like it's. He's different. He changes it up too.
Yeah, let me see.
Probably like Deborah Cadabra or something like that. Was probably one of his better ones to start with.
I mean, soulful voice too. Like, yeah, crazy.
Captain Beefheart. Steele comes up on YouTube as like the first.
Yeah, give it a little spin.
He's got a different voice for sure.
Oh, different. Yeah.
Very low. Yeah.
It goes low. It goes high. It's all over the place.
Huh. Yeah, it's definitely different.
Yeah, it's unique. It's definitely unique.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So I'm going to go with my man Peter Steele from Typo Negative. I mean, just people tried to imitate it a little bit, but I thought he was real distinctive, all around distinctive. You know, what do you think, Dame, on that Peter Steele?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't put him on my list on because Yerky from 69 Eyes kind of sounds just.
Oh,
like
dude,
him.
they sound like Typo Negative light.
Yeah. And I'm a big fan of that band too.
Yeah, they're
and,
good. That's good.
That's part of the reason why I like them is because I did like Typo Negative when they came out, but they just seem like Typo Negative with a bit more energy.
Yeah,
you know, more of a rock vibe than metal. But yeah, I really got into them like the first 2 or 3 records, and I just kind of got lost or got into other things. But when they first came out, I guess it would have been the second album, Bloody Kisses, right?
Third, I think it's a third.
That was a third.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it sounded like Count Dracula, you know.
Yeah. Mike D, Typo Negative, anything?
Yeah, I mean, it's very distinctive voice, and I mean, as far as mainstream wise, I'm going to say, but I think if you're somebody that like attends those like goth clubs regularly, it's like you're going to hear about 60 to 70% of the band's vocals sound like that.
Probably.
And it's hard to even say like who was out first or whatever.
Right.
It's just that style of music. But I mean, I would always say when I hear something, is that Typo, you know?
It's weird because
well, you just bought that what did
October
you just buy?
Rust. I just got October Rust on vinyl, which is a great record. That and Bloody Kisses.
That sounded great, man. That sounded great. Really good.
October Rust sounded great. Yeah, I always liked Typo, and he came from Carnivore before that, which was a total different kind of thing. So
yeah, what did he sound like in that?
It was like heavy, like growly, more heavy. A little comical here and there, but he would change his voice. Like if you listen to Typo, you get kind of some punk in there, you get some doom in there, you get some. They had their own thing. They definitely had their own thing. They did sound punky at times too, So they definitely had their own thing. Who do you got on your list, Dame? Who you got next?
Vince Neil.
Definitely distinctive. Yeah.
Another guy, not the greatest singer, but he's got a very distinctive voice. He could sing anything and you would know that it's him, just like the other guys that I mentioned, it's like he could give him a Frank Sinatra song to sing and it's Vince Neil or whatever,
Yeah.
You're gonna make my head explode.
Yeah, but you unique. If you heard that whine, it's him.
It's weird because I think you have to be like young to like something like that. I don't know, because the older I get, the less I like that style of voice.
Yeah,
I mean, it all depends. For me, music's always the mood. It's what mood I'm in. So it all depends.
Mm-hmm.
But Vince has got an extremely unique voice. There's nobody that really sounds like him. Still, there's nobody that really sounds like him. You might hear some spots here and there, but
maybe Alvin, Simon, Theodore.
That's right. I forgot.
Yeah. I mean, there's people that have imitated his look, but I mean, as far as how he's, his voice, he's got it. That's his own.
It's like when we talk about replacing singers, when Karabi, oh my God, Balls Out is way better than Vince. But it wasn't Motley Crue. It's that voice. It's,
Right. And same thing with Karabi is like the total opposite of what this list is. There's a lot of guys that with that same kind of voice. Chris Cornell, I won't put him on this list.
Right.
There's a lot of guys who had that bluesy kind of
powerful,
great voice,
bluesy,
great
Yeah.
singer.
Oh, yeah.
Can't deny it. But there's a lot of, I mean, he comes down a whole long.
I don't
list
know,
of
man.
singers, like
I might even say Chris Cornell does have a distinctive voice. I think I could pick him out.
Nah, there's
Yeah,
a lot
I
of guys
mean-
that sound like him now, though.
it-
Maybe not
yeah,
as good.
No, yeah.
but
Yeah.
even before that, I mean, not that Robert Plant, he sounds like Robert Plant, but it's like that same bluesy kind of style.
Yeah. The
you know?
difference
And
with
there's
Cornell was Cornell had some grit in it. He
Yeah.
was able to hit the grit too.
Mhm.
Songwriting,
He wasn't just a high.
right?
Yeah.
Songwriting wise, totally unique.
right.
But that's a whole different
Love that band.
subject. Yeah, just so good. I mean, he's if we were doing a countdown of best singers of all time, he's probably in the top 5. For rock singers, I think, because it's not easy what he's doing. What he does, definitely not easy. Mike D, who you got on your list?
I'm going to take another one of your picks, Abby.
Okay,
I'm going to go with David Draymond.
great pick. I forgot about Dave Draymond.
Is
Yeah,
that-
that's a great pick.
Am I saying his name right?
I think it's Draymond. Yeah,
Draymond.
yeah, that's a great pick. Very distinctive voice. His cadence is unbelievable. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, you hear that he's got that sort of like that throat singing kind of. With then he has that little like
staccato.
I don't even know. It's like
It's like kind of like
Well-
a ska staccato kind of thing going on. But then he can
almost
sing, too,
sounds
on top of that.
rappy, but it's not. You know.
Yeah, you definitely know it's him. I mean, I'm not a fan of the band at all. I just can't get into them. But he's got a voice that you definitely know when I hear it on the radio. I know it's Disturbed.
Yeah,
I think I found a new like for them right now. Like I kind of fell off a little bit, and then I heard the second album again not too long ago, and I'm like, you know what, man, that was just really good. I actually forgot I had it.
yeah.
Yeah, they're just a little too butt rocky for me. Jock rocky, butt rocky.
Yeah, that's where it's like on the fence. Like I try not to hate a band because of the people that like it,
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough.
but it happens. It does.
I mean, they fall into the same category with me. I love them, but they fall in the same category to me as Godsmack would. As far as
Yeah.
same kind of deal, same kind of crowd. And he's pretty unique too. He's got some stuff that he takes, but he's pretty unique in his own way. But
That
as far as-
cover he did of what's that Simon and Garfunkel song? Sound of
Sound of
Silence.
Silence, unbelievable.
I mean, who knew his voice was that good?
Yeah.
All the Genesis tune too is that was a good
Oh,
cover.
Land
What
of
did he do,
Confusion.
man?
was
The
great.
Confusion.
Yeah. And they did
That
Shout
might
from
be my
Tears for
favorite
Fears.
song by them.
The Shout from
Yeah.
Tears for Fears was great also.
Mhm.
On the first record, their cover of Shout was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's so distinctive. As a singer, it's hard to even try and do what he does. Like I'll practice some of the stuff to see if I can get the cadence down. And that's a whole different. It's neat. It's
Yeah.
breaking down his
Rhythmic.
songwriting is neat.
Yeah. Rhythmic.
Yeah, very rhythmic, very rhythmic. Okay, I guess it goes to me. Who do I want to throw up on this list? I'm going to say Bon Scott. Talk about cadence and different way of total different voice. I don't think I know any. Listen, Brian
There's
Johnson.
a lot of guys after him.
Yeah, you're right. Brian Johnson's got a distinctive voice, but there's a lot of people that could pull off the Brian Johnson thing.
Mhm.
I haven't heard too many people pull off the Bon Scott thing. His cadence was interesting.
It's funny. I was more of a Bon Scott fan.
You ever hear
Like
Dirty
the-
Looks?
Yeah.
There's a lot
What
of
is it?
bands that
Yeah, turn on the screw. Who's
Dirty
screwing
Looks.
who? I love that second
Oh,
record.
Didn't Accept kind of had that sound too. With
Ah,
Udo.
yeah.
Yeah,
a little
he was
heavy,
more,
but-
little more Brian Johnson
Yeah.
voice, I think. Which I mean, look, that's my favorite. If I could sing it, if I could say like I want this type of voice, it would be like that Brian Johnson, Udo Accept kind of voice.
Yeah.
I just there's
That looks
something
like it just-
about it.
Tear the shit out of your throat, man.
Yeah. It's almost like you need to swallow like razor blades and smoke.
Dude,
a
he
shitload of
must do
cigarettes
that-
to get
Does
He
he
must do
talk
that
like that?
naturally.
I never heard him talk. Does he talk like
He
that?
does.
Yeah, he's
does.
great.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know if he must smoke a lot of cigarettes. That's the only thing I get.
I don't think he does anymore, but yeah, he definitely. I mean, he's got like that real raspy, Scottish
Yeah.
voice.
Dude, because it's weird when you hear him, even when you hear him live, I'm like, wow, because it don't sound like he's struggling. It just must be his voice, which is, dude, that's a tough, I could sing some heavy stuff, but like AC/DC is one of those bands that I can never really pull off. Yeah, both of them. Both of them had their own unique style. So I guess we could throw both of them on here for unique. I think for me, Bon Scott, it wasn't so much the tone of his voice, it was his cadence. It was kind of different. Like the way he would word stuff was kind of different. Where he was more, I think Bronson. I'm thinking wrestling. Bronson. I'm thinking Brian Johnson was more like rock, where Bon Scott was more swagger, maybe. A little more kind of tongue in cheek, cocky. More cocky swagger kind of deal. Where Brian Johnson was like, here I come. You know what I mean? Like one of those things.
Yeah, Brian Johnson was almost like your pub singer. Like, the original or
blue
collar.
Blue collar. I always liked it because he's very blue collar. Never got fancy, never got dressed up. It looked like you got what you got.
I know.
And at a time when it was hard for bands to get away with that, AC/DC totally got away with that. I never liked, not to go into the gimmick thing, but I never liked the whole schoolboy outfit thing. I always thought it was like,
I guess that was his
always
shtick,
did it. Yeah.
He always did it. Yeah. And I just never I was like, yeah.
But halfway through the set, he's just down to like, the pants.
His underwear.
He's not even, so at that point, you don't even remember what he's wearing,
Yeah. But I never got that whole, after I guess we're reading about and how they got the idea and all that, but I'm like, they're just a bar band that happens to be an arena band,
Yeah. Stadium.
It's weird because like, I don't know if we discussed it, but like I don't own any AC/DC or like, I'm not like a huge fan of theirs. Like, and it's not that I don't like them, but like they have to just come on for me to be like, oh, that's just really good. But like, I'll never say, hey man, I'm in the mood to hear AC/DC. It's weird.
Yeah. It's like a Zeppelin thing. I love Zeppelin. I love AC/DC. I own both, but I'll rarely put them on because you hear them all the time. They're on all the time.
Yeah,
man. I bought that Led Zeppelin box set when I was in high school, man, and I got my money's worth out of that thing.
That was a great set. That box set was great.
That was my walking to school music, my walking home music, walking to class music, in class music.
What was that called? I remember the commercials.
It was just like the box set. It was like kind of like
what was the name of it?
It was the Crop Circles.
Yeah, I don't think it was a name.
It didn't really.
Yeah, it didn't have a name, right?
It didn't have a name. It just looked like the Crop Circles. Yeah, but the symbols.
Yeah. I just remember the commercials.
It looked like sand almost with the. Yeah, and then they came out with the remasters, which was like the second version of the box set, right? With the
I don't know why I never got around to picking that up.
Yeah, it had the songs that didn't make the first.
I think there was a new song on there too.
But AC/DC definitely both singers distinctive. What do you got, Damo?
I'm going with Paul Stanley.
People.
His vocally. His stage raps were definitely lifted from, like Steve Marriott from Humble Pie. If you ever listen, or the Small Faces, if you ever listen to Humble Pie live at the Fillmore, dude, you listen to him talk in between songs, Steve Marriott, and Paul Stanley got everything, everything from him. The whole preacher, whole Southern preacher thing, like how it is all from him. But vocally, his vocals always sound like very unique. He doesn't sound like anybody. It's him. I can't think of any imitators. It's kind of difficult voice to even emulate,
Even his deep stuff. When he sings deep, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Same thing. Like I remember hearing the song Shocker. Remember the Dudes of Wrath, right? So I didn't know anything about, I just heard the song and I'm like, wait, that sounds like Paul Stanley because you know that voice.
Yeah, right.
You know that voice. Yeah, dude, Paul Stanley is definitely an original voice.
Yeah.
People try and imitate it, but they never hit that exact.
Yeah, even the tribute bands I've seen, dude, there's it's hard. Even Gene, I could put him on the list, but man, it's really, really difficult to nail their voices, man. It's very hard.
Yeah, Gene's pretty unique too.
Mhm.
Gene's pretty unique, and Gene still hits that. Gene still
Yeah.
sounds the same. It's crazy.
Mhm.
Paul, I could see some of that 80s shit was high, man. It was high.
Super high. Yeah.
It was really, really high. Mike D, who you got on your list?
One and only, love him or hate him, Axl Rose.
Oh yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
Nobody sounds like him. Nobody, he has that like kind of high but like screechy voice sometimes, and then when he even goes low, it still sounds like him. You know when you hear it.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean,
Yeah,
I agree.
I was gonna put him. I mean, I thought of him, but singer from
I
Nazareth.
mean, there's been a
a
few
little
where-
bit.
Yeah.
Now y'all messing with them.
Yeah. Janice Joplin's got some of that in there. That's the only reason why I didn't.
But
put
the
him
thing
on
that
there,
made Axl unique for me when I first put on that Appetite for Destruction record is that he was doing the high stuff, which a lot of people kind of did the high stuff,
and low.
but he did the low, man. And I didn't know
Mhm.
anybody at that point who was mixing it up like that.
Yeah,
You
he had like 3-4 different voices. you know?
Yeah,
I thought it was somebody else in the band singing at first. That's I
Yeah,
was like, oh, yeah,
well,
they got
okay,
a couple
okay,
guys
you know
singing
what?
here.
I mean, you're right. I mean, for that, I would probably put him down. It's so easy. I always thought the low part was Slash singing.
Me too. Yep.
Well, before I saw them live or saw video
Oh.
clips, I didn't know. I thought maybe, the low part sounded like something. I don't know what Slash sounded like if he sang,
Yeah.
but that's what I would hear. That's what I heard in my head.
I think the unique part of him wasn't so much the high, it was the low mixing with the high. And he was the first one I know that was doing all the yeah stuff. It was fucking great. Like I try and imitate it.
Yeah.
Or I imitate it
Yeah.
by mistake a lot, and I'm okay with it. When somebody goes, "Hey, that reminds me of X," I go, "Thank you very much." You know what I mean? Because I sure the fuck ain't hitting the high stuff. Mike D, what
Well,
you got?
your voice sort of is like the way you talk almost.
Really? I don't know.
No, I mean like your tone, like you have almost the same tone the way you talk.
Okay.
Like it's you.
Axl wasn't, that's for sure.
The Axl sounds totally different. Yeah.
He's got a super deep voice, man. That guy.
Yeah. Yep. I want to go with Lemmy. I don't think anybody sounds like Lemmy,
Yeah.
even talking wise. I mean, oh wow.
Well, he sings like he speaks.
Yeah. Yeah, he's distinctive. And I
Like
love
he smokes
Motorhead,
at
man.
20 cigarette packs a day.
20 cigarette packs.
Yeah, 20 cigarette packs.
And Motorhead's one of those bands, man. When I was young, I never really got into them. And then, maybe when I hit 20 something, I started going back and listening to stuff. No, I love them, man.
Yeah,
Oh my
great.
God.
Mm-hmm.
And then you realize how many bands rip them off. Like even I love Metallica, but man, you could tell Metallica definitely got some of their stuff from Motorhead. Definitely.
Yeah.
Especially that first record, the Kill 'Em All record. It sounds like Lemmy here and there.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah.
Great band, man. Lemmy, distinctive shit. As far as rock guys, he'd probably be on the top 5 of being distinctive in general. So I'm going to go with Lemmy. That's my pick. What you got, Damo?
I got Dave Mustaine.
Oh, absolutely.
That was my pick.
You have it too? Yeah.
That was my next pick.
Absolutely.
Very unique voice, good or bad, it always seems like the guys who this guy's got, it's like annoying, or you either like it or you think it's like annoying, you don't like it, and they're the unique singers, because the bluesy singer seems like everybody likes them.
Yeah.
Because everybody sounds like that, but the guys who are like, like the Vince Neils, the Dave Mustaines or whoever, it's always Brian Johnson. They're unique. They're different. It's Axl Rose too. Some people just can't get into it and other people like it, but it makes them different.
It's that whole snarl that he has. It's like cocky almost.
Cocky.
Yeah. It's like he's
word.
talking, but there's a cockiness in there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Snarl. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Mustaines definitely make the list. What do you got, Mike?
I think it's someone else, Mike.
Yeah.
I mean, a band I really don't listen to anymore, but I'm going to say Stephen Percy from Rag.
I think
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And back then, I don't even think now anybody really sounds like that. And it's tough for me to listen to them now, but nobody had that voice.
Mm-hmm.
You knew on the radio, you knew that was them.
Yeah, especially for that time. When
Oh,
everyone
yeah.
was singing like
He sounded
crying
different.
and
He sounded different. Well, Stephen Piercy was never a belter. He wasn't belting out these long notes. You know, he just kind of sang.
He was
kind
of chill in a way almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the only way I could really describe his voice was there's like a coolness to it.
Yes.
You know, like even like his stage presence and everything, he wasn't like running around and smiling, and it was just like a really cool. Even now, I still I still love Rat. I go see them every time they play. But there's like a coolness to him, and his voice, his whole delivery and everything, and that's what made him different than the rest.
Yeah, and people forget, man. Especially I was listening to metal music since I was a kid, and I guess when the Rat first album came out, maybe 83, roughly 84. That band was fucking huge. A lot of people don't remember how big they were. They were huge. Them and Motley Crue were huge at the time, and Rat maybe even a little bit more when they first popped out. That first record, Out of the Cellar, there's more hits on that than there's so many good songs in that song on that record. And I remember I don't know if it was Back for More, one of those videos where Motley Crue was actually in the video.
Yeah,
they were dressed up as cops. Yeah. So I think people forget how big Rat was. To the point where they even were headlining arenas for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I don't know what happened. But also, speaking of Rat, I'll give them huge credit to you knew the way they sound, and when they came out with the Way Cool Jr., what a total different song.
Oh, that was a great song.
That song I couldn't even put that in what that sounds like. That's got its own.
Yeah, it had like almost
it was kind of bluesy
jazz vibe to it,
Yeah. But I agree with you. Mike, with the Stephen Piercy, definitely a unique voice. Definitely a unique voice. I gotta see who I'm gonna go with next. I want to go with somebody who I don't know much about that has a unique voice, Tom Waits. And I don't know much about him, but man, he's got a unique voice.
Yeah, it's almost like spoken word.
Real gritty though. It's like it's interesting.
Maybe like Lou Reed
with balls,
Bob Dylan
with more balls.
Yeah.
He's like I know he's influenced by him, but he's like I'd say a little more subdued Captain Beefheart.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that, and man, like he's pretty damn distinctive. Like hearing his stuff is he's pretty damn distinctive.
Once he gets past a certain point, like because he started off doing like lounge stuff,
right?
And I think when he met his wife, he was like a Captain Beefheart fan. Like maybe like 5 albums in, like she turned him into this different type of musician.
Got influenced by him. And
like ever since then, that's kind of like the style he does. So like you really can't go wrong just picking up one of his like mid to later albums, man. They're kind of cool.
Was he the one that originally did Hang on St. Christopher? The Bow Boys?
Yes. And it wasn't too long before they
I didn't know that.
Too.
I didn't know that was
it might have been like a year or two apart.
Yeah. And even that, talking about, since I mentioned the Bullet Boys, Hang on St. Christopher, what a fucking great song. Like,
That's a great song.
They did a great job. They did a great job. Because same thing.
This is really good too.
Yeah. But you know what they sound like, the Bullet Boys? And then when you hear that, and that was released as a single, and I didn't know it was a cover forever. I didn't know it was a cover.
That was off a Freak Show, right?
It was off the second record, I think. Yeah, Freak Show.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because the first record they were built pretty much like a Van Halen kind of. The next Van Halen when that first record came out.
But that second album, it was weird if I remember.
It was weird.
It was leftover tracks from the first one.
Yeah, I like them. I like the.
I saw them. They opened up for Cinderella. It was the Bullet Boys and Winger.
Yeah. Did you go to that one?
Dude, let me tell you.
No, I remember. I wanted to. Yeah, that was like.
I don't know if we ever
dream concert.
Winger was, dude. They were good. They were great.
Fucking great
put
band.
It that way.
Yeah,
great band.
Great players.
And, I think they got a bad rap.
We listened to that album not too long ago. And it's like, man,
it's really not that bad.
No.
You know,
Dude,
I
great
think a lot of people.
songwriters,
Yeah.
great
It
musicians.
was all the dancing and the singing that, not singing. The
Beavis and
dancing
Butthead.
smiling
Beavis and
and
Butthead.
stuff
The
like
girl, yeah, the
Really?
girls liked him.
Yeah.
You know, he
that.
kind
Can't
of
blame him for that.
No.
he was ballsy enough to do Playgirl magazine. You know, so,
Ballsy.
ballsy.
Yeah. What do you got there, Damo?
Okay, I'm going. I was thinking about this today, and it's totally different world. But nobody really sounds like this guy, and I'm going with Rick Astley.
I'm never gonna give you up. I'm never gonna
Dude,
let you know.
when those songs came out, he used to imitate his voice because it was different. Never gonna give you up. You know, together forever. You know, he had that kind of like almost like a Kermit the Frog kind of singing voice, but it's dude, it's those songs were so goddamn freaking catchy, man. And you know,
I think my mother owns that cassette tape somewhere. It's somewhere in my house.
But look, he's got a unique voice, man. I mean,
people still talk about him either way.
Yeah, Rick rolled, man.
And I still think he does stuff, which is crazy.
He does, yeah. He played. I want to say maybe 3-4 years ago. He came to the Electric Factory. It was sold out like in minutes.
Everybody.
I mean, he got a
Rick
new
roll
fame
thing.
through. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Even though it is making fun of him, he's probably like, "Fuck it, my bank account's nice."
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Mike D, who you got on your list?
Oh, let's just throw the zinger in right now. Let's hit that Tiny Tim.
we're going to some weird now. They're going crazy. That's unique, all right.
Won't expect anything less from Mike.
Yeah,
that one.
We don't even have to get much into it. I'm sure if you want to hear his voice, you can look him up.
Yeah,
his voice,
different.
His look, it's all what the fuck.
Everything. Yeah.
What the fuck?
Is he still alive?
No, I think he died not too
Recently,
long ago,
right?
maybe.
Yeah.
5-10 years, maybe.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, I mean, even if you look at him, I still don't expect him to sound the way he sounded.
Yeah, he had like that falsetto thing or something.
Like, was he actually good or was that just a shtick? I don't know.
I think that was. I think it was a shtick.
It was more like
I used to fucking break balls, man. Like we used to have the music match in the store, so it's like if there was like customers that came in the store and they were just fucking pain in the asses, I would just throw on fucking Tiny Tim on the fucking PA.
Wow, he died. He died in 1996. Holy shit! I thought it was.
Oh, it was that long ago? Wow.
Yeah, I thought he died maybe like 5-10 years ago.
Yeah, I thought it was at least the 2000s.
Wow. Okay.
Well, I'm gonna go with my next one. I'm gonna go with he's a super unique artist too, and always changed himself. Bowie. I think Bowie was really unique.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
You know, he looked one way, and he could hit the melodic and kind of high range stuff, but he also had like the manly sound too sometimes. So
yeah, right.
Yeah. I mean, you listen to something like even like Let's Dance, that Put On Your Rich. I mean, he mixed it up pretty damn good. He's and I respect Bowie. Bowie's great. I like a lot of the songs. Is he one of my favorite guys? No, but man, that guy knew how to keep relevant, and one of the few people who kept reinventing himself. Every album, every other album kept like unbelievable, man. So yeah, I'm definitely going to go with Bowie. We got Damo.
That's a good one. My next one, I guess I want to break my rule, and I'm going to say Jim Morrison.
Jim Morrison.
Jim Morrison, because I think anything after that, you say, oh, he sounds like
Jim Morrison. Yeah.
Jim Morrison. He's got that Jim Morrison, Danzig, and there's a lot of other guys.
Yep.
I always looked at Danzig as being more Elvis.
Elvis. Yeah.
Elvis, like, Jim Morrison, a mix
of those two.
I agree.
But Danzig does have his own distinctive voice, though, I think.
He does, yeah. You know, what the hell did I read something recently. It's like the singer from The Darkness was talking about dude, I'm not a fan at all. I'm just
I know.
don't kill me.
No.
Yeah, he said I read something yesterday where he was talking about Greta Van Fleet, saying, he was just saying that you know, he was like, they're like so Zeppelin, but now they're you know, they're starting to change a little bit. And he says the difference between like them and him, you know, Greta Van Fleet and the Darkness, is that when they came out, he got like he was mending like two different influences and his own personality instead of just like one, like Robert Plant, and that's about it. But
Right.
you know, basically like somebody like Danzig, he's got like a couple different influences, and it turns out sounding like him, but you can definitely hear where it's coming from.
You could, yeah, with
You know what I
Dan's,
mean?
Oh yeah.
you could hear the Jim Morrison, you could hear the Elvis, you could also hear some of those old 50s singers kind of mixed in, like a Roy Orbison or something like that. Or
Right.
Johnny Cash.
Yeah,
you know?
you hear
Oh,
his
that's-
influences. It doesn't sound like a direct ripoff of somebody.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, any kind of like rock singer with that crooner kind of voice,
which works
to
man.
me.
It really works.
Yeah, to me, it all comes down to Jim Morrison, which is he's probably like really influenced from Elvis too. You know.
Sure. I would think so. I would definitely think so. Mike D, what you got on your list?
Well, I'm just going to say it now since he was already just mentioned. Roy Orbison.
Yeah.
Nobody had that voice, man. Nobody.
Yeah, great voice.
It just sounded like it wasn't like a beautiful voice, but it sounded like it was coming from the heavens or something. It just sounded like, I don't know what effect. I don't know if it was effect, but it was just, man, it just his own thing.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, it's crazy. Speaking of Roy Orbison, like me and Donnie were kind of messing around. You know, as a musician, wherever you try and do different songs that you never did before. So we tried to break down to do like these 50 songs and just to try and write, if we could write in that style, just to see if we could do it. And we did a couple tunes, and you know, we would study some of these singers and break down one. You know, we take a song and then we break it down how they did it, and okay, well, what's he doing over here? And Roy Orbison was fucking interesting because he was singing over stuff that it's not normal to sing over, like you know, the way it goes, you know, the way the melody would go, and like I got so much more respect. I think once you break down, you know, listen to something and seeing if you like it or not is one thing, but if you sit down and you take a song and you break it down and you see where the arrangement is and the melody and stuff like that, sometimes it opens your eyes up going, wow. Like even like Buddy Holly stuff and stuff like that. It's like, I'm not a huge Buddy Holly guy. I like a couple songs, but some of the melodies that you put over stuff, it's like Jonathan Davis and stuff like that. It's unbelievable, you know?
What are your thoughts on Johnny Maestro and the Brooklyn Bridge?
My dad loves them. My dad loves them. I have no choice but to like them. My dad loves them. My dad's like, what? He's not in the fucking Hall of Fame?
That's
They
why
all
I brought
ripped
it
Johnny
up.
Maestro off.
I remember you mentioned that.
Yeah, they all ripped Johnny Maestro off. But yeah, he's a big Johnny Maestro guy. I'm gonna go with both guys from System of a Down. Totally different, especially Serge. Serge is really,
he's great, man.
Yeah.
Him and
Darren.
God. Yeah, great. I mean, I love them.
Yeah, me too.
They're a really, really unique band. Bunch of different styles blended in. It's like you don't know what to expect. You hear a song, it's like one way, and then it switches to something.
Dude,
they're just incredible. I
I didn't know what to make of that at first. I was like, what the fuck? Is this a joke?
Right. It took you a second. Yeah. Yep. Like what was the song? Was it Cigarro? Where you know, it's my cock is bigger than yours.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then you're like, and then it goes into that big hook, and the hook is like, oh my god, they're from the tablecloth. And you're like, bam,
yeah.
And you're like,
No, that's
that
a different
record-
song.
That record is
right?
Is that the same song?
No,
Or
that's
BYOB, it might be.
You're thinking,
yeah.
no.
Well, you're BYOB.
BYOB, it is, yeah.
Yeah, but that record is phenomenal.
Both of them. The double record is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
I like all their stuff, man.
Yeah,
there's not one. Their first album was probably the least favorite of mine, but
It was still good. Yeah. It was
You
still
know,
good, yeah.
he's still great.
Yeah.
That, if we had to talk unique bands, that's got to be one of them, you know?
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
And they weren't young. I think, you know, they broke. I think they were older. They were
Well,
kind of
I think they were
probably.
late 20s.
You think?
No,
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah,
I
don't
think
they were
Serge
super
might be
old.
older.
Yeah, he might be like 8 to 10 years older than them.
Yeah, I think he's a little older. But yeah, man, totally unique voices.
Yeah.
You got anything else, Damo?
Yeah, I'm gonna say Alice Cooper.
Groundbreaker, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he's got a unique voice. There's just a few people after him. Nobody really directly comes to mind, but like when you hear certain things certain singers do, it's like, God, it sounds like Alice Cooper. He's kind of got that lower kind of gritty kind of voice. I mean, he talks the way he sings.
Mm-hmm.
The way he speaks is like almost the same kind of voice. So
yeah,
he's not, he doesn't have like this like a high singing voice, but he's basically just like singing melodies, in his speaking voice, kind of like that lower,
and
lower register. But
he's another guy that shit's all over the place. Like you can listen to some stuff and it just sounds like a rock song, and then he'll do something that's kind of Broadway-ish. It's really weird. Like I was talking to one of my buddies today, and he was like, I know you like Alice Cooper. He's like, I got that School's Out record. I don't think it's that good. I was like, to be honest with you, I don't think it's that good either. School's Out, the song's good. There's a couple good songs on there, but there's some weird shit on there. $1 Billion
Babies.
That's the one. I told him that's the one.
That one, Love It to Death. I mean,
they're the two. Early, yeah.
The first two records were like, because Zappa produced them. They're like out there.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah.
He produced them. I mean, they came out like the late 60s, like 68, 69. Then Bob Ezrin got a hold of them. Their third record, the third record on. So like Welcome to My Nightmare is like they're just friggin' great. Welcome to My Nightmare, I'm really not that crazy about, because that's like the first solo record.
Yeah.
But everything before that, like with the original band, it's untouchable. It's just amazing.
I agree. The only School's Out, I don't think that's one of the stronger records for Cooper for me. The song's amazing, but as far as the record itself, I mean, there's so much better shit. Like $1 Billion. If somebody asked me what's the record, $1 Billion Babies probably.
Yeah, absolutely. That's my favorite. That one.
And I like the 80s ones. Really I think I like the 80s ones too.
Yeah, the 80s ones. I
mean, very Desmond Child driven. But I like.
Well, that one I kind of like.
Trash.
I like, but
like I didn't like to Feed My Frankenstein type. Like I don't know.
I Poison. Poison.
I love Poison. Like I love the Poison song.
But it's after the original band, there's like it's very spotty for me.
Just like I think he's hot and cold. Like even now when he comes out with something, he'll come out one record, like the Paranormal record, I thought was amazing. Then he'll come out with something else. I'm like, so it's always, like you said, spotty. That's a great way of putting it.
He came out with one, in the early 2000s. Man, it was really
Brutal
good.
Planet.
Brutal Planet, I think.
Great record.
It was heavy. It was
industrial.
Kind of reminded me like the early stuff in a way. Pretty sure it's Brutal Planet.
I think it is. Yeah, I think it probably is.
Yeah.
That one's great. I love that record, man.
It probably is. Or is it? You know what? I think it's Dirty Diamonds. Dirty Diamonds.
That was good too. Dirty Diamonds was good.
Yeah. Dirty Diamonds is the one I'm thinking of. It's like kind of reminds me of like a throwback to the early stuff.
Yeah.
And it's kind of raw sounding too.
Yeah. Dirty Diamonds was real good.
Yeah.
It was real good.
Mike he puts out a ton of shit. He's always putting out stuff. So it's
dude, he's consistent. He just put out something not too long ago. He's consistent.
Yeah. He's like, you got to stay on top of it, or else.
Yeah,
it's just a lot of shit to get caught up.
But I agree with you 100%. One thing's great, and then the next thing's okay. So but there's always something good in there though. Mike Dave, anybody on your list?
I'm not a huge fan, but I respect him a lot more than when I was younger. Bob Dylan, man. Nobody sounds like that.
I'll give you that.
Nobody sounds like him.
I mean, Tom Petty did a little bit near the end, but
but not like that.
No.
You could call Tom Petty might have been like Bob Dylan light, and I like Tom Petty a lot.
Oh yeah, I prefer Petty. But I mean, Dylan was original, absolutely, absolutely. And guess what?
He's still doing stuff, man.
He's old as shit too now.
Yeah, he's got to be like definitely in the 80s.
Yeah,
he didn't pay off that debt to Satan yet.
Yeah, it's amazing, man. He is so out there touring and shit. Dude is gotta look it up how old he is.
Got to be in his.
He's got to be in the 80s. God,
He is 80.
He's 80
Wow.
now.
God damn.
Now is he older than the Stones? Is he older than Mick Jagger?
Jagger's like 76 or 78 or something.
I thought they're older than that.
Dude,
Right.
I'll
Maybe
tell you
not.
what. I give Jagger credit, man. He still does his thing, and he's up there. It's unbelievable. And I'm not the biggest Rolling Stones guy, but he's he does his thing still.
Yeah, Ringo and Paul McCartney are 80.
Dude,
Jagger
Ringo
is-
Ringo don't even look that old, man.
Ringo looks great.
It's unbelievable, ain't it?
Mick Jagger's 78.
Wow. Keith Richards, maybe a little older.
Keith Richards, I think, is a little younger.
He's like
70
52.
Yeah,
He's,
he's on paper out.
He's 77.
Wow.
It's crazy.
That's crazy. All right, I'm gonna go on to the next guy. And man, there's a lot of people that love him. There's a lot of people that don't love him. But I think he's underrated. And it all stems from the Moscow Peace Festival. I think that's why people don't like him. Claus Bane, the Scorpions.
That's a good pick.
Scorpions.
Yeah, I had him on my short list. It's a band I never really got super into, but yeah, I don't dislike him. I just never really got into him. But man, he's got nobody sounds like.
Mm-mm.
He's got a real unique voice.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say about him.
And it's weird. Some people like him, some people don't like him. But
yeah,
man, guess
Mike
what?
likes him.
Yeah, Mike. I love the
Look,
Scorpions.
I got nothing against him personally. Like nothing against him personally. I
Personally.
just can't. I can't take the Scorpions. I just cannot. I
Scorpions!
don't like the Scorpions.
I love them. I love them.
They're yeah, man. They're just like for me. They're leave the room worthy.
Yeah.